Hello, good evening and welcome to 3FM 92.7. This is Hot Edition coming to you live from our studio here at Adesanwe Kanda in Accra. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Coming up this evening, following the Attorney General's decision to discontinue the trial of the only suspect in the Ahmed Suale Murder Case, tonight we ask if this joins a long list of unresolved high-profile murders. We have details of that in a moment. Also coming up, Minority Caucus strongly condemns what it says are plans by government to dispose of mobile telephony operator AT by directing its traffic onto Telecel. And later, analysts are warning that Ghana risks terrorists' infiltration if government does not treat the Galamsey menace as an emergency. Details of all these and more for the next 1 hour, including business and sports. Stay with us. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Let's settle for the details of the stories now. And it's been 6 years since investigative journalist Ahmed Suale died or was murdered in cold blood by unknown gunmen in Medina Isabab of Accra. Till date, the police has no single evidence to zero in on the suspect. The late Ahmed Suale Hussein was murdered in 2019 in what was widely believed to be a contract killing. Daniel Kranting, a colleague and a friend of the deceased journalist, was arrested and charged with 2 counts of abetment to commit crime and murder, and was facing committal proceedings before the court. The Medina District Court on Tuesday, October 14, however, discharged the lead suspect in the case. Prosecution alleged that they had led 2 other culprits, currently at large, to the home of Ahmed Suale, where he eventually shot and killed the victim in question. These unknown assailants are still on the run and the police are looking for them vigorously. He, however, pleaded not guilty and was put on a 50,000 Ghana cedi trial, bail I should say. The Attorney General also cited failure by the police prosecution to gather sufficient evidence, the basis to discontinue the case. In a moment to at least give you an idea of which other key individuals have lost their lives in very tragic circumstances, but investigations have gone cold as a result of lack of evidence to continue prosecution. Before that, let's listen to Emma Jean Markin, who says that it is a bittersweet moment for the team of lawyers who have been following the case, and they are actually the lawyers for the gentleman who has now been released, more or less, Daniel Kranting, for lack of evidence by the prosecution.
If you ask me, I have a bittersweet emotion towards the whole thing, especially since, I was there with him from the beginning. We are actually a team of lawyers. We're about 5 lawyers handling Daniel Kranting, different aspects of his matter. And it was a very difficult period, knowing fully well that certain allegations were made, and then you know that no, it cannot be, because I know this person, I saw him here, we did this was done, so how can this be? Especially with the accusation that he was out of the country. That was one issue that we were like, this man was here. He's been in all our offices for years. We are handling matters for him in court. We have personally given him vehicles to go and people to go to meetings with government institutions. He works closely with the police. I have been there with him in police stations, several police stations. So, and he has traveled in and out of the country in where I'm aware. In fact, in 2024, I think it was about 4 times. We have all these things to prove that this person was never and could never be a fugitive of justice.
So he was always coordinating with the prosecution? Cooperating with the prosecution?
I would say so. I think in the last part, he was invited. And I had an emergency, so we could not appear. I mean, shortly after he was arrested. Yes, I think that was also a small lapse on our part that has cost this gentleman quite a lot. So when I say it's a bittersweet moment, even after the arrest and after his bail, he's even having to seek medical attention. He's had a lot of emotional trauma. It's not been easy, even for us as lawyers. I think it was a non-starter. I think that we were abandoning things that happened 2019, which is something that we cannot do in this matter. In 2019, when this issue happened, a lot of things happened. Several arrests have been made. Have we ever heard of anybody being paraded around the way Daniel Usu-Kranting was paraded around? Has it ever been heard? But there have been several arrests. You understand what I mean? So it was shocking and surprising to everybody. I won't say, I cannot speak for somebody and their work, but from where I sit, I feel like as if I know there had to be more work to be done. And if there was more work done, like the way some media houses were saying FBI investigations, it would certainly not be pointing at my clients, because you would have known that the gentleman was all the time in the country, except for 1 week, 2 weeks when he was out of the country, doing other investigative works. I think it's a bit of the two. Because I feel like Ahmed Suale was a friend to Daniel Usu-Kranting. They were very good friends. I never heard of Ahmed really, but I knew a little bit of information on the media. But whenever I spoke to Daniel and he recalled his days, he always used to mention Ahmed. So I was surprised when all of a sudden a bosom friend now becomes the accused. You get what I mean? So I think for Ahmed, the delay in actually looking in the right direction, I think that this thing has nothing to do with pictures. Because if we are going to go along the picture line, then this man's image should not be anywhere. But he was front-facing in all investigations, using his name, using his face. I'm sure you recall Kwesi Nanchesi's wife even saying that she met with him. So there are several people who know that what he looks like. He has a Facebook page. You see him in some of the documentaries. They say Ahmed. Then you see Ahmed in the back there with a camera. So to me, I'm just wondering, why? Why must the person die because of pictures? Those pictures are a non-starter in this case, in this particular case. So what we have to be looking is casting our net wide. There were eyewitnesses who saw who these assailants were. We cannot throw that away. We can never throw that away, because eyewitnesses see the people, and it looks nothing like Daniel Usu-Kranting. And for me, if you tell me that somebody's call records show that he was in the area, I will laugh.
So that's the voice of the lawyer who is, or part of the team of lawyers who are taking or were representing Daniel Kranting, who is the lead suspect in the Ahmed Suale case, who has now been released. So what does this really mean, legally speaking? What does that mean? Before we go to the phone lines to engage Dr. John Sopoku Wari, let's also listen to Dr. Mustafa Idrisu, who is a member of the family of Ahmed Suale, on their reaction to the latest in terms of the court twist or the court issue, which has led to the release of the lead suspect now. So let's listen to him.
It has been a pain to the family over the years And all we have been looking for is for the states to be able to get the people who committed this heinous crime. So when somebody gets arrested, and then the family is excited that at the end of the day, at least somebody has been arrested and being prosecuted over this particular issue, then all of a sudden, you hear that the accused person has been left free to go. Definitely, as a family, we're not happy about this development. The family is saddened about this whole development. If it were to be somebody who has killed the police, by now, they would have made public the people that they are suspecting. Why are they keeping it? Why is the police keeping the sketches of the individuals? Why are they keeping it? So that they are the only people that will go around and look for the persons? Maybe one of them might just be living closer to my house. If I find somebody who looks like that, why wouldn't I report that to the police? So if you are not able as an institution to be everywhere in the country, there are people who can help. Why wouldn't they bring it out?
You heard Dr. Mustafa Idrisu, who is the family member of Ahmed Suale. Now, he says he's not surprised that 6 years on, the police have not been able to put a single individual behind bars following the death of Ahmed Suale. So let's go to the phone lines now. We have criminologist and senior lecturer at the KNUST, Dr. John Sopokuware. He's joined us for a quick chat. Doc, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, my brother. How are you?
Not bad. I'm fine, thank you. This is not the only suspect that has been mentioned or picked up as regards this particular issue. Have there been several, there have been several mentions of other individuals related to this Ahmed Suale case, but from the legal perspective, does this mean this is the end to the matter?
Well, thank you very much, and a very good beginning to your listeners. I don't think this should be the end of the matter. The police, I think, have to, as it were, expand the scope of the investigation. They have to cast their net wide, because I feel that it looks like the police over the years are looking through a very limited scope of, window. And once you do that, you actually narrow the search area. But I think that looking at the nature of the crime, especially the way the murder happened, I think that the police will have to widen the scope. They have to look at other areas and other perspectives. I think they've not really looked at over the period. And I feel that it is something that the police will have to do if we are to be able to get to the root cause, the criminals and those that did that to our brother Ahmed Suale.
Is there something the police is not doing right in terms of their investigation? Because this is a murder case. Someone actually has been shot dead. Elsewhere, we have seen that they're able to use forensics, either the bullet casing or what kind of gun was used, where it probably was purchased. All of that, very little has been heard in the public space. But if we are able to narrow down to an individual and later say that person, for lack of evidence, we are unable to prosecute him, it means that we are either missing something or not getting something right. How do you read this?
Yeah, definitely that is what it says, and that is the picture it is creating. And that is why I said earlier on that from the way I'm looking at the back and forth, I think the police is not, widening the scope enough. Because you see, when murders happen, every murder is different, and you have to allow the murder to speak to you. Okay, so every murder case tells a story. And if you look at what happened, in fact, you have to look at the issues before, during, and after. Okay, so if you look at what happened before the brutal murder of our brother, the way things unfolded before, during, and after, I think that the police cannot just narrow the scope. They have to look at all those scenarios, all over, so that they can rope in a lot more people and now begin to interrogate a number of people, so that they can now begin to eliminate each of them one after the other, okay, and then be able to pin down to the very person that is responsible. But if we only have to narrow it down to a certain circle based on probably some preconceived notion, I think it would be very difficult for the police to be able to get to the actual perpetrator of the crime. Okay, so I'm thinking that right from the time the incident happened, the narrative that came out, the discussions that came out was quite unfortunate. I mean, from a criminological perspective, it was very unfortunate because I felt that once those narratives were being played out in the media, if there is actually a true criminal who was responsible for what happened, we're actually giving the person enough time and space for the person to cover the tracks and probably even leave the jurisdiction. Because now all of us were looking at a certain way. There were other perspectives which, I mean, for typical murders like that, we have to explore, which I think that all of us, because of the fact that we were following those kind of narratives, we were not able to look there and we lost track of it. So I'm thinking that this is the time. Let cool heads, calm down. Let the police review their approaches from the time it happened, probably from even before it happened, through to the time it happened, and then all the issues that happened afterwards. Then we can draw a proper chain, and then the chain will be able to link us to those people that are very responsible for this that actually acts against our brother. Because we need to be able to actually get to the person that committed this and get justice for Ahmed Suale and the family.
Do our systems, would you agree that our systems are updated enough to be able to still investigate while the case has, as of now in court, being put on the shelf? And I'm asking this on the back of reports that the police actually have a unit that sketches people who are assumed to have been suspects. How workable are these sketches, and is it something that our system actually has advanced enough to collaborate all of it and say that, okay, this individual or that individual, based on our study and our investigation, could be a key actor in the entire scenario?
Well, sketches are very important in the criminal investigation process. In fact, in other jurisdictions, it is used frequently to identify, suspects. Okay. What I don't know is how effective the Ghana Police Service have used that over the period in Ghana as part of their criminal investigation. Because, I mean, based on my studies of policing in this country and all those, I don't see that very often being used. I mean, if there's even a sketch of somebody they think is a suspect, I've not even seen that sketch even as yet. Okay, so I don't know how effective that is. Probably somebody can give them a sketch or maybe an idea of who they think is the suspect is, but is the person even doing the drawing very, very good in terms of capturing all the biological and the physical characteristics of the person say they might have seen. So in our jurisdiction here, actually the use of sketches, I doubt it can really help us to be able to pin it down to a person. But I know in other jurisdictions, it is something that they have used and they have perfected it. In fact, they even have units that are specifically responsible for doing these sketches and publishing them, that is able to help us to profile these alleged suspects and then get to them. But over here, I don't know how extensive the police have been, because I hardly come across that kind of, approach being used in a criminal investigation. Normally, they deal with the pictures instead of the sketches. But I think with time, we can give it to the police for them to perfect it and get there. And now,
okay, go on.
I'm thinking that if we are to go by what the police have done over the period, I still want to give them some benefit of the doubt, because this is murder. Okay, murder in criminological sense, we say is the ultimate crime. So we must be able to get to the root cause of it. Okay, and that could take time. I'm thinking that let's still give the police some time for them to be able to work on the issue. Let's not, push them into a corner where it's like we just want to, bamboozle them for them to get us something. And now I think that with the policing, what is creating the problem and a kind of distrust among the citizens, in terms of how the police is approaching it, is the lack of update. Okay, the police will have to be able to update the citizens, especially because the murder, this kind of murder, is a high-profile murder. Okay, so the police will have to carry the public along. They have to keep on updating the citizens. Even if you have a suspect, You may not even have to even parade the suspect, but you can just come in and inform the public that, look, so far, based on the Ahmed Suale case, we've had some 2 suspects or so and so in our custody. We are interrogating them, and we are hoping that if these people are the people that we have the evidence to suggest that they have committed a crime, we are going to put them before court. And now, you see, every stage of their investigation, they need to carry the citizens along, the family along, and everybody. Once they don't do that and they create that quietness in between, that is where the start coming in. And I think that over the period, the police have not really done that in terms of how they are able to carry the citizens along when it comes to the investigations of the death of Ahmed Suale.
Right, and that was actually my final question to you, that even these sketches we are being told about, I'm not sure any member of the public has seen this sketch, to even
I work within space and I've never even seen it before.
Right, and again, your last point, if maybe for purposes of reiteration, you are raising concerns about the lack of collaboration with the public, because clearly whoever committed the crime, and there is enough evidence to show that someone actually committed a crime because a life has been lost, a gun was fired, that individual is still very likely to be living amongst us. So if the police have not been able to work with the public and everything seemed to have been, held to their chest, it's going to be even more difficult for them, because then the public, they are not collaborating with the public to get to the bottom of this, right?
Exactly, because, just like the politicians who say, all politics is local, all policing is also local, okay? Which means that it is the citizens at the local level that will have to give the police information. But then the police must create that atmosphere for them. That is why I told you earlier on that I didn't like the narrative, the earlier narrative when the issue happened, okay? The way it was presented to the public, and even people that used to work with Ahmed Suale, the way it was presented to the public, all of us were looking at a certain side, and then the issue then turned into politics. And you see, once it becomes highly political, people down there now grow into this state of distrust. So even in dealing with the police, they become scared because they don't know where the police even stand. They don't even know who stands where. Right. Okay, but we don't have to treat murder cases like that. Murders are murders. You don't have to have a certain narrative on them. People have been killed, or someone has been killed. The duty is that we must find the perpetrators of the act and bring justice to the victim and their families, and even the general public, and guarantee safety for the general public. And you do that working with the public, because all policing is local. The public has to give you the information. They have to give you the tip. And then based on that, you can work on the tip and now pin it down to the actual perpetrator. If you put narratives on them, now people that know information or have information will now begin to feel, some sense of distrust. And now, should I even do this? Should I even tell the police, hey, this one is all over the place. So if I say this, hey, these people, would they come after me? Then it becomes very difficult for the people to be on board. And I think that is where we are having an issue with the police now. Because the police have, for the past 5 to 6 years, when this incident happened, I feel they've not really engaged the communities. They've not really engaged the citizens in terms of getting all the information that is needed to be able to get to the bottom of this case. Okay.
Doc, thank you so much for your time this evening and your thoughts as well.
Thank you so much, Nabala.
We've been speaking to criminologist and senior lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Jones Opoku-Ware, who has been sharing thoughts on the police's latest decision, or government's latest decision, that is, to discontinue the trial of the Ahmed Suale case because they do not have enough evidence to continue the trial. And on the back of that, the lead suspect, who has been at the center of all of this, Daniel Cranting, has also been released or let go for lack of evidence. We'll see what the reaction will be in the coming days, or what else will play out in the coming days regarding this particular issue. And talking about deaths and strange murders, we have some news just coming in from the Upper West region, Upper East, I should say, because a high court in Wa has sentenced Elisha Mahama to life imprisonment for the murder of Eric Johnson, who is the owner of Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, also known as the Jirapa Dubai. Two other accused individuals have been acquitted and discharged. And that's the latest news coming in regarding the murder of Eric Johnson, who is the owner of Cozy Hills Hotel in Wa. Let's speak to our correspondent who has been following this story for us. Ibrahim Wangara has joined us for a quick chat. Mr. Wangara, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM. First of all, what was the final verdict? How did it play out in court when the judge finally delivered this verdict?
Good evening, Martin. Let's put on record that the story happens in the Upper West region and not Upper East. But today in court at the High Court, it was interesting there because this case has moved. It's almost a year now because this incident happened somewhere February 11, 2024. And today, finally, the court was able to clear or declare somebody or two people acquitted and discharged with one other person who is the prime suspect, Elisha Mahama, the principal suspect, life imprisonment. The court, in a unanimous 7-0 ruling, found the then human resource manager of Draper Dubai guilty of murder. That is Elisha Mahama. He used to work with Draper Dubai as the human resource manager there. So it was around, if I will give a brief background, Mr. Eric Johnson was a businessman who was stabbed to death by unknown assailants at his home on February 11, 2024, and was found in a pool of blood the following morning, according to police situational report that was made available to us. The motive behind that heinous act is still unknown, but during that investigation period, 7 people or 7 individuals, including staff at the hotel, were arrested, and then they were those assisting in investigation. So as it stands now, the main HR officer or the then HR officer is Elisha Mahama, who has been sentenced to death with 2 other staff who were acquitted and discharged by the court. Immediately after the call wrapped up, the counsel for Mr. Johnson's family, who also doubles as the principal state attorney, he made a few remarks. What he said was that he said in his own words, we cannot bring back Mr. Johnson's life. However, I believe justice has been served. So these were the very brief remarks that the principal state attorney, who doubles as the counsel for Mr. Johnson's family, made to journalists. However, the defense and his counsel are making claims that are preparing themselves to go for an appeal because they think that the 7-0 unanimous decision being taken by the jury was not, or the HR officer who is sentenced to life imprisonment should not be held responsible for that crime because they think they needed, or the court needed, to do much work into what was declared. So that has been the situation. But immediately after the court ruling, residents were happy with the announcement because they think that at long last, at least, this will serve as a deterrent to other people who have the mindset of committing crimes, and will also serve as deterrent to people who, in an unfortunate event, will be planning to commit such crimes.
So the bottom line is that it was the former employee of the man in question who, according to the court's verdict, caused his murder. That's the point.
Yes, please.
Right.
So, yes.
And the other 2 persons who've been acquitted and discharged, were they also former employees of the company?
Yes, they were. One was the security man, and then another person was a receptionist. And that particular receptionist, we were told, is the one who is having a key to the residence of the then CEO. And then the security man was also arrested because when the murder happened, he was the one who opened the gate for the man's car to be moved out of the premises, because when the incident happened, the one who orchestrated that crime uses the vehicle of the then boss to move out of the premises. So when the car was moving out, the security man in question opened the gate for the person to move out, because he was having the mindset that it was the man in the car, because the car mirrors were all tinted. He could not have seen who was in the car. So that was something that they think he also, because of that singular act, he should also be questioned for that. But finally, he and that of the receptionists were acquitted and discharged.
All right, Ibrahim Wangara, thank you for that report coming in, which is actually breaking news, which is that the Wa High Court has sentenced Elisha Mahama to life imprisonment for the murder of Eric Johnson, owner of Royal Cozy Hills Hotel. Many of you will know it as Jirapa Dubai. Two other individuals who were also under investigation have been acquitted and discharged. And our correspondent, Ibrahim Wangara, just gave us that update from the court. Thank you very much for that report. You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. This is Hot Edition on, we are also streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. Do let us hear from you what you make of the other stories that we have for you regarding the big stories happening in Ghana. And one of it has to do with the fact that the family of the late Ahmed Suale say that they are disappointed in the latest move by the Attorney General, which is the discontinuation of the trial of Ahmed Suale. And talking about such suspicious murders, well, one that happened in Wa about a year ago, a few minutes ago, we were just told or given an update regarding that individual who was the owner of a hotel had his own HR or head of HR or one of his employees being the mastermind behind his murder. And on the back of that, the police, the courts, I should say, in Wa have just put him behind bars for life. So it is quite a fluid situation. If they were able to get to the bottom of it, it looks as though when there is a murder case, a lot more needs to be done to unravel what must have caused it. We also had a resource person, a criminologist, who helped us with what the police could have done in terms of public engagement to ensure that they get to find who the killers of Ahmed Suale were. So the first part of our conversation has largely depended on issues about murder, and then the fact that investigations can become very difficult or go cold at some point, but with persistence, they are able to get to the bottom of it. 3FM is the station, 92.7 is the dial, Hot Edition is the program. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Let's do some politics now. And the government and the leadership of the ruling National Democratic Congress are coming under intense pressure from sections of the party's grassroots who say they feel sidelined after the NDC's return to power. Some supporters and campaign volunteers have taken to social media and local party platforms to express disappointment, demanding recognition and job opportunities in return for their efforts during the campaign. Party leadership has since been engaging stakeholders across the country, appealing for calm and unity while assuring members that their concerns are being addressed. Officials say leadership is developing practical and fair ways to resolve issues relating to jobs, welfare, and inclusion within the party structure. The National Democratic Congress's National Chairman, Johnson Asiedu-Dartey, who is currently on a thank you tour of the Volta region, has asked supporters to remain calm. Let's listen to him.
Equally, if you don't support President Mahama to deliver on those promises, Ghanaians have never forgotten where they took us from before they brought us to the city. If it becomes necessary for them to take us back, they know the way to take us back. And so, in our struggle for positions, don't let us conduct ourselves in ways that will frustrate the achievement of the manifesto promises. It is our ability to achieve the manifesto promises first in power. And if we are in power for long, the ministerial position you didn't get this time around, you may get it another time. So the key to our common success is to come together and support the government to deliver on our manifesto promise.
And that is Johnson Asiedu-Dartey, the current national chairman of the NDC. Let's go to the phone lines and speak to Mustafa Gbande, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. Mr. Gbande, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure these sentiments come to you almost on a daily basis, where the rank and file, mostly the youth, say that the NDC has won, but their lives have not changed. When you hear these kinds of reports and complaints, what do you tell them?
Well, good evening and good evening to your cherished listener. I think that is a very important sentiment, sentiment that we don't override. We do acknowledge that as a new government undergoing an economic recovery, all of us would have to, some way, one or the other, restrain and manage our expectations. And I know that our party people are able to trust in leadership in managing that expectation. But the problem, which explanation cannot do, is when we believe that there was some wrongdoing under MPP, to the extent that there have been fleecing of the public purse, corruption and all of that. It didn't just happen because of one politician. It happened because it had the endorsement and involvement of certain individuals within the public sector space. Why should those people continue to be in office? They are persons that are known by our party supporters who are MPP. True, and true. Those people will not believe in the ideology of the president. All the party is simply asking is that they cannot wait for MPP people to again ransack this government, help perpetuate corruption, just as they did with Nanado, and then our party inherits the blame. That is where the confusion is. So once we continue to engage with our rank and file, to be patient, yes, they believe that each and every Ghanaian must work in government. But there are certain individuals who are politically exposed, do not believe in the ideology of the NDC. Public sector people are not allowed to go on political platforms to campaign. So if you are a public sector practitioner and you've gone on a platform to campaign against one political party or the other, why should your party lose and you are still in office? That is where the problem is. And we believe that all these people must go because they do not believe in the agenda of the president. They do not believe in the agenda of our party.
Mr. Gbande, are you saying that if there are people who are known NPP supporters and they are in key public service positions, they should leave? And how would that so that those positions will be occupied by known NDC supporters?
Not you can be PNC, but if you are politically exposed, because we all know that if you are not, so for example, the head of civil service, he was employed by President Akufo-Addo, but he hasn't been seen campaigning for one party or the other. So you would not say that such a person is politically exposed. But when you go to ministries, places like Ministry of Education, these placements that we have problems with, it's been handled by MPP people. If you go to a place like CAUCUS, where we know that there was a lot of broad day, double inflation of invoices, reckless buying and purchases using cocoa farmers' money. What are the directors still doing there? We don't have anything called neutralization. It's either you are MPP or you are NDC. You went for campaign for your party loses, you go with your party. That is what our party people are advocating for. And I think this one, it's not about jobs. So the problem is not just about jobs and expectations, which we are managing. It goes beyond that. It further goes to the extent that party people are afraid that tolerating these MPP people will make us same as, their government have been. Again, you have persons like Apenyo Markins saying publicly that will be in power, but they will show us that they are still in charge. So when a person in opposition makes a statement like this, how do you expect NDC people who have gone to suffer and campaign to be sitting in the house when MPP people are still at post working?
Right.
How would you resolve that matter?
Okay.
And so, whereas we maintain and call for calm, admonishing that party people must, there are some agencies that, as we speak, they haven't gotten financial clearance to employ because we are all undergoing a very positive economic recovery. They understand that bit, but the bit that they don't understand, which we party leadership cannot manage, is the one that will tolerate MPP people in office. There's no excuse for persons who are politically exposed to still be in the office when our party people are working and looking for jobs.
Okay.
They are not Togo people. They are also Ghanaians.
Okay.
If your government was in power and you saw the expedience to be politically exposed, you should as well go home with the government.
Okay. Mr. Gbande, final question. So, if I'm listening, I'm a party supporter, and I've also expressed these grievances, and you're asking me to hold on because you're still trying to settle and put the right things in place. What should I take away from this interview? What was that final assurance you're giving?
There is going to be light at the end of the day, because we will continue to engage with the leader of our party, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who is the president, to find reason with him that the individuals from MPP who are still in public places will be the very ones that will destroy his beautiful program and policies for the people of Ghana. These same people are the ones who work with MPP politicians to fleece with this, to steal money from the people of Ghana. Why should they continue to be there? So they should be calm whilst we work to rectify some of these problems that we have.
Mr. Gbande, thank you for your time this evening on 3FM 92.7. Mustafa Gbande, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. Thank you for speaking to us. We are staying on the same subject, though. And again, if you are an NDC supporter or, you could be apolitical, but if you're a Ghanaian and you're listening to some of these pressures that party supporters are putting on the NDC, what do you make of it? How can we go around such situations so that it doesn't become like the country belongs to whichever party is in government, or the country belongs to whichever party, is managing the affairs? So when NDC people are in government, then it means everybody else who is not NDC should be knocked out and sit somewhere until if situations change around and they also come into government, they come and enjoy. Unfortunately, that is the kind of cycle we find ourselves in. And Mustafa Gbande has just given us his thoughts on how they are hoping to calm the nerves of their party supporters who are increasingly becoming agitated for lack of jobs, etc. But what does Jonathan Asante-Okyere make of this? He's the political analyst. He's joined us for a quick chat. Dr. Asante-Okyere, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening, Martin.
I'm sure you've also heard in certain quarters this disgruntled nature of complaints by NDC supporters putting pressure on the government and their party leadership. They also want jobs. How feasible is this kind of pressure? Is this something you are confident government can actually work on, or party leadership can actually work on, get jobs for their people?
Yeah, certainly. Let me say good evening to your good self and to your listeners. I think that this is not beyond the party that finds itself in government. The president, as we know, is very versatile. He can always look outside the box. Now, I have proposed what we call street lighting authority that found a space in the the manifesto of the NDC before the 2020 elections. It got a different nomenclature in the 2024 elections. Look, apart from ye, and I think that the government is not ready to go in the same path as of the MPP previous government or the SWAL government under President Akufo-Addo and that of Dr. Bawumia, where we had, was it NACOP or something, that particular intervention that the president brought, where they said that over 100,000 youth have been employed in that and all those places. At the end of the day, we saw what happened. It became a burden on government because what they were engaged in was non-productive. I think that there are two main things. One, the government will have to look into the area of agric. They will have to liaise so well with the agric minister, who has started very well in the area of, Ejumawura, in the area of Feed Ghana, especially Feed Ghana, which feeds directly into the 24-hour economy. Now, if I speak about the street lighting authority, we know that there is a certain percentage of what we pay that goes to ECG in terms of street light. Do you have street light? Martin, do you have street light in your area?
Where I live, yes, we do. But I mean, I also drive through certain parts that do not have.
Yes, total darkness. How is the maintenance done? And all those things. So, look, you need to have an authority in which that money that goes to ECG will be given to that authority. That is a new area altogether where you'll be able to create jobs for the teeming youth that voted massively for the president. Look, I said that at TV3. Look, the president is going to win overwhelmingly, but his problem will be the expectation of the people. And that's the more reason why I advised the sitting president when he was a candidate, look, do not go on the tangent of Dr. Bawumia in going on a promising spree, because you're going to create problems for yourself. Now, if you're not able to fulfill those promises, it will become a problem for your successor. And I think that the president might have heard me, and then he discontinued with respect to, because I said that you are going to win. But the problem is, you're going to win massively. How do you douse or maintain or manage the expectation of these people? That is definitely going to be a problem. So you need to look outside the box. And that is why some of us have written a proposal to that effect. If I am made the CEO of that particular, thing that I'm proposing, nothing selfish about it, whichever way it goes, as long as it solves Ghana's problems, I'm good for it. We pay street light to the ECG on a monthly basis. Do we have that we don't have? So when you set up such a thing, which we have written a proposal to that effect, that means that you're going to have electrical engineers, you're going to have security, you're going to have people who are going to manufacture solar panels, solar light. And it's not going to be part of the national grid. Then, not that being aside, you have to look at this huge billboards that we've been doing or mounting in this country. All these huge billboards can be on the electronic platforms where you can even advertise about 20, 30 companies without necessarily using that huge stuff. So we need to think outside the box as a nation. And you see, what people are suggesting, I can appreciate where Mr. Bande is coming from. A nice gentleman, is very passionate about what he does, and a grassroots politician for that matter. The pressure that is going on to him is too much. There is something else that the government also have to look at. Look, people that you have given appointment to, who were performing important or significant roles within the party when they were in opposition, now find themselves in government. So as part of amendment of the Constitution, if you find yourself as a regional secretary and have been given regional minister, why are you encumbering that position? Because the grassroots will want to have an interface. where they can liaise with party executives so that their issues, concerns, will be taken to the quarters that be. If you have a situation where these will find themselves in government, they can no longer have access to them. It is not their fault anyway. Because on regular basis, when you go to the offices of these people, you will see many people. You know, everybody wanting to see the minister, wanting to see the CEO, and you have to appreciate where they are coming from. You cannot blame them. Because the economy, as we found it over the period, has not been good to everybody else. But
it looks as though this particular issue
you're able to deal with some of these issues, then definitely it will no longer become a problem. But finally, the point ought to be made.
No, for lack of time, we would have to leave it here for now. But
the government is doing well.
It's interesting the way you put it, that we need more people. The government needs to restructure how even it couches its campaign promise. And yes, there is the opportunity, but we need to collaborate and cooperate to get all the people involved so we can get jobs for the youth. Thank you, Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere. He's a political science lecturer, and thank you for your time as always. You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. Time now for business, and Bismarck Ewusa has joined us for that. Do stay tuned.
Hello, good evening. Time now for the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Coming up tonight, foreign rice preference and price drive Ghana's importation surge despite local production plans. I am Bismarck Ewusa. This headline story and others lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Ghana's concerted efforts since 2008 to boost domestic rice production and curb the nation's high dependence on imports have failed to yield the desired results, according to analysis by the Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS. Despite the implementation of multiple strategic plans dedicated to encouraging local rice cultivation, the country's rice importation continues its upward trajectory. Senior Research Fellow and Acting Executive Director of the IFS, Dr. Said Boachi, noted that the persistent increase in imports is not primarily driven by population growth, but rather by consumer preference for foreign rice and competitive pricing.
You have to produce enough to be able to reduce, because consumption of rice is far exceeding production of rice, and the difference is being taken care of by imports. And so it is rice production that is critical. If we're able to produce more in terms of quality and quantity, then you'll be able to substitute for imported rice. But people complain about quality of domestic rice. Okay, it is not land issue. Our land can grow quality rice, but the seed, quality rice seed, is a problem. So we are recommending that the Rice Development Board, takes control. If they have to import, if our researchers can develop the aromatic or the quality rice seed, they have to. It is one of the reasons why we are recommending the establishment of the Rice Development Board to help with all these areas.
You heard Senior Research Fellow and Acting Executive Director of the IFS, Dr. Said Boachi. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen has held a high-level meeting with the President of the World Bank Group, Ajay Banga, to explore new pathways for Ghana's development and deepen ongoing cooperation. The talks, held on the sidelines of the IMF World Bank annual meetings in Washington, focused on scaling up investments in critical sectors that hold the key to Ghana's long-term growth. The meeting centered on scaling up support for ongoing World Bank-financed projects and introducing new initiatives to accelerate Ghana's transformation agenda. Both parties agreed to prioritize 5 key sectors: education, health, energy, roads and agriculture, identified as the pillars of Ghana's medium to long-term development. Dr. Forsen emphasized that the renewed partnership will help build a more resilient, inclusive and sustainable economy. He was joined by the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, and Ghana's Ambassador to the United States, Victor Smith, at the high-level engagement. The finance minister expressed optimism that the renewed collaboration with the World Bank will fast-track Ghana's journey toward economic recovery and sustainable growth. And that was the 3 Business Tuesdays report. Before we go, Ghana and other sub-Saharan African countries might face significant refinancing pressures as previously issued Eurobonds near maturity. According to the World Bank, this poses significant challenges to debt sustainability. In its October 2025 Africa Pulse report, it said Ghana faces a bond redemption of $500 million, that is 0.7% of gross domestic product in 2025, spiking to 1.2% of GDP in 2026. South Africa has the largest bond redemptions between 2025 and 2027, measuring 3% of GDP over the period. Senegal also faces bond redemption totaling $1.1 billion between 2025 and 2028, with approximately 1/3 maturing in 2026. And that brings us to the end of the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. Oreku Ampofu is here for sports. Please stay.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition with me, Oreku Ampofu. Following Ghana's qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, head coach Otto Addo has addressed the growing interest from foreign-born players looking to switch allegiance and represent the Black Stars at the tournament. In an exclusive interview with 3 Sports, Addo emphasized the importance of commitment, unity, and national pride when considering new additions to the squad.
In general, we will look at each case one by one, and without naming or giving names, there are players which we have been chasing since I was a coach in 2021, who didn't reply to our call or didn't want to come, and it's very, very difficult, to say in general, this is what we do. So we have to see each case by case. And it's a different thing. If we haven't approached you and now you want to come, then we have been approaching you all the way and you said no, but now that as we are at the World Cup, you want to come. And I think Ghana should always have a certain pride also as a country. I think also that we need to go on each player and to check the commitment, which is very, very crucial, because we have a very good unity and definitely don't want to destroy this with bringing players in who don't have the commitment. So commitment has to be first, and then from there we will see if anyone shows in the next 6, 7, 8 months from his performance, but also from commitments that he wants to play for Ghana, then we are always open.
Well, that was head coach of the Black Stars, Otto Addo, speaking there. You can get more from the exclusive interview with the head coach of the Black Stars, Otto Addo, on our social media platforms at 3SportsGH and then on 3news/sports. And that's how we bring an end to the sports segment and also to Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Oreku Ampofu, and we're back again tomorrow, same time, to bring you the latest news in the country, across the continent, and then the globe.